I want to talk about a trait the world will praise you for right up until it ruins your closest relationships. You're the strong one. The capable one. You handle everything yourself, you don't lean on anybody, you'd rather struggle alone for a week than ask a single person for help. Everyone admires it. They call you independent, self-made, low maintenance. And here's the part nobody says out loud: for a lot of people, that fierce self-reliance isn't strength at all. It's armor. It's a wall built so high and so early that you've forgotten it's a wall, you think it's just who you are. It has a name, hyperindependence, and the tell is simple and brutal: the closer someone tries to get, the more you need to push them away. Today I want to show you where that wall came from, why it fires hardest at exactly the wrong moments, and how to start taking it down on purpose. Let's start with where this armor is forged, because almost nobody is born this way, they're built into it. Hyperindependence is, most often, a learned response to a single hard lesson absorbed early, that depending on people is not safe. Maybe the adults who were supposed to be reliable weren't, they're sometimes, gone other times, loving one day and unavailable the next. Maybe you learned that asking for help got you dismissed, or punished, or made you a burden. Maybe you simply had to grow up too fast and became your own caretaker before you should have. However it happened, a child in that situation draws one logical, protective conclusion: the only person I can truly count on is me. Needing others led to disappointment or pain, so I will stop needing others. That's not a character flaw. It's a brilliant survival strategy, for a child who genuinely couldn't rely on anyone. The problem is that the child grows up, the danger passes, and the strategy stays, running automatically in a present that no longer requires it. Now here's the mechanism that makes it so confusing from the inside, and this is the heart of it. When you've wired yourself to believe that needing people is dangerous, then intimacy itself becomes the threat. Sit with how strange that is. The very thing most people move toward, closeness, being known, being depended on and depending in return, registers in you as a warning. Because real closeness requires the one thing your whole system was built to prevent: needing someone. Letting them matter. Handing them the power to hurt you the way you were hurt before. So as a relationship deepens, as someone gets close enough to actually reach you, your alarm doesn't quiet down. It gets louder. The closer they get, the more vulnerable you become, and the more your old programming screams that vulnerability is the setup for pain. Intimacy doesn't feel like warmth to you. It feels like exposure. And that's when the switch flips. Psychologists call these deactivating strategies, and once you can see them you'll catch yourself mid-move. These are the automatic things you do to kill the closeness and restore the safe distance. Suddenly you find faults in the person that didn't bother you last week. You get busy, you go quiet, you pull back without quite knowing why. You pick a fight over nothing. You start missing being single, romanticizing your freedom, feeling smothered by a person who hasn't actually done anything wrong. Here's what's really happening underneath all of it: the relationship got close enough to trip the alarm, and every one of these moves is your nervous system manufacturing distance to make the threat go away. It feels like, I've lost interest, or, they're not right for me. Often it's just the wall doing its job, pushing away the exact intimacy that some deeper part of you actually wants, because wanting it is precisely what feels dangerous. Let me name the heartbreak in this, because it's a genuine trap, not just a quirk. The hyper-independent person is frequently lonely. Not because they don't crave connection, they often crave it deeply, but because the moment connection gets real, the armor slams down and sabotages it. You long for closeness from a distance and feel threatened by it up close. So you end up in a painful loop, drawn to people, then pushing them away when they get near, then alone again, then aching for someone, then repeating the whole thing. And the cruelest part is how the world keeps rewarding the very thing that isolates you. Every time you white-knuckle through a hard time alone, refuse the help, prove you don't need anyone, someone says, "You're so strong," and the wall gets one brick higher. The trait that's hurting you most is the one you get applauded for. That's why it's so hard to even see, let alone change. Now I want to push back on the cheap version of this conversation, because there is one. Independence is not the enemy. Being capable, self-sufficient, able to stand on your own, those are real and good, and the goal here is not to become helpless or to dump your every need onto other people. The problem isn't independence. It's the rigid, fear-driven inability to ever depend on anyone, even when it would be healthy, even when you want to, even when the person in front of you has earned it. Healthy people move flexibly between standing on their own and leaning on others as the situation calls for it. The hyper-independent person is stuck, locked in self-reliance, with the leaning option grayed out. So this isn't about giving up your strength. It's about regaining a choice you lost a long time ago, the choice to let someone in when letting them in is the right thing to do. So how do you start taking the armor off? Not all at once. That wall went up for real reasons, and ripping it down overnight would just trip every alarm you have. You do it in small, deliberate experiments. You let someone help you with something small and you sit through the discomfort of being a tiny bit dependent without bolting. You learn to recognize the deactivating switch in real time, to feel that sudden urge to find faults, to flee, to pick a fight, and to pause and name it. This isn't them, this is my wall firing. That single act of naming it, of separating the old alarm from the present reality, is where the power is. Because the alarm is real, but the danger usually isn't, not anymore. The person in front of you is not the people who taught you to build the wall. And then, when you can manage it, you do the bravest thing of all, you tell someone the truth. I tend to pull away when I get close to people. It's not about you. I'm working on it. Honesty like that is the opposite of the wall, and it's what lets the right person finally reach you. Let me say the hardest part plainly, because I won't pretend it's easy. Letting people in means accepting that you might get hurt. That's not a flaw in the plan, that's the actual deal, for everyone. The hyper-independent strategy is, at its core, an attempt to make hurt impossible by never needing anyone. And it works, it does protect you from that specific pain. But the cost is everything that requires needing someone, real intimacy, being truly known, the deep relief of not carrying it all alone. At some point you get to make a grown-up's choice your younger self never could, that the connection is worth the risk. That you'd rather be close and exposed than safe and alone. Nobody can make that choice for you. But you should at least know you're making it, and that the wall, which once saved you, may now be the only thing standing between you and the thing you most want. So here's what I want you to take with you. If you're the strong one who never needs anybody, ask yourself honestly whether that's freedom or whether it's a wall you built so young you mistook it for your personality. Notice what happens in you when someone gets close. If the urge to push away rises right as the intimacy deepens, that's not them being wrong for you. That's your armor doing exactly what it was trained to do. You don't have to tear it all down. You just have to learn to set it down, on purpose, with people who've earned it, one small, terrifying, ordinary act of letting someone in at a time. So here's what you're actually doing when you push people away right as they get close, and what to do about it. You're not losing interest, you're tripping an old alarm that closeness equals danger. Catch the switch, name it out loud, and let one safe person in a little further than feels comfortable. If you recognized yourself in this, subscribe, one mind hack at a time.